Hey, my friends. I'm so glad that you're here today, and I want to show you what it looks like to sit in a lecture that I give on live Facebook events. These forums that I've been doing lately have been generally for the feminine court. But I just want to tell you the information really transfers to all genders, all species, animals and humans. And so I just want you to enjoy the level of support that you're going to find in these forums and know that they're there to help you level up in Womaning 101 on this planet. In this particular forum, we're talking about death and how to survive a tragedy in your own life. So you're going to hear a lot of that kind of expert advice and healing advice. And there are many different modalities of healing offered in this forum that I'm speaking in. So today I'm giving you the privilege of listening to my lecture on the Echoes of Soulful Leadership Forum by Josie L. Freeborn. She's a darling woman who has just come through her own story of grief to the other side and having a resilient bounce, and you can too. She'll tell you how she's been doing that. I'll tell you how I did it with the death of my own spouse. And many other people will be there to offer their stories of resilience in Womaning 101. Thank you for being here at the Cannabis Truth Podcast. And please see my trusted sources. If you don't know who those are already, find me on Facebook and listen to the amazing help you'll find in my trusted sources. So we'll talk about that more later, but for now, enjoy this lecture.
Welcome to Season 6 of the Cannabis Truth Podcast, where we speak the language of cannabis freely and uncensored while educating our audience on safe use of this live plant therapy. You should know what's in your cannabis, what's good and what's not, because cannabis does not come with an FDA stamp of approval, yet. The information you will find here comes straight from scientists and clinicians, doing the work and reporting their findings in reputable outlets. Hopefully, we can inspire you to research the facts as we know them today. Cannabis is an amazing alternative in health remedies, with the potential to alleviate typical disease problems and troubling side effects, even those caused by synthetic prescriptions. Here now is the host of the Cannabis Truth Podcast. She is a 21st century cannabis shaman, not a doctor, not a scientist. Raised by nuns and wolves in the verdant cattle pastures of the Oklahoma oil fields, here to amplify the truth of this great big story of cannabis in historical, political, scientific, and spiritual terms, so you can make educated decisions about the medicine you choose to ingest. Please welcome Honey Smith Walls.
Yep, we're talking about overcoming today. Overcoming all kinds of fears and anxiety and getting over not knowing what to do or when to do it or how to do it. Figuring out all of those things and working out all the little details of life and what you have to do when systems fail you. Speaking of systems, I had a major system fail, not only just now when I was trying to come on, so I'm a few minutes late, but in my life, I had a major system fail, and it was the one I was brought up in, of course. The American medical system of sick care failed me, and after practicing their philosophy on me and their prescriptions for 65 years, I decided I just couldn't take any more. I guess it was about 60 years. I couldn't take any more. I just couldn't take any more. I just couldn't take any more. I couldn't take any more of the side effects and the nausea and the brain fog and the, hitches in my get along and not being able to get up in the morning, not being able to go to sleep, IBS, constant tummy issues. The nausea and the brain fog was the biggest. And it just didn't seem like any of them were ever really helping me heal as much as they were just masking the symptoms that I was having from the original issues and compounding their own negative side effects to that. And I just got tired of it. Tired of that whole doctor dance. I talk about the doctor dance a lot because at 70, I still have to do it in order to stay good with my insurance. So that's part of the American system. And it's okay as long as I'm the one that gets to choose what I'm doing and for my own health care. And so, it really didn't serve me well for a long time because I got so caught up in the negative side effects of the polypharmacy that I was on that was not healing me. And then I decided to look outside of our typical American system. Maybe there was something in Chinese medicine. Maybe there was something in Indian medicine. I didn't know. So I began looking. And I just found all kinds of help in plant medicine, especially the one that I was familiar with as a kid and a hippie back in the 60s. So, I just want to say this too. Back in the 60s when I was a kid, my body was young and beautiful and healthy, and I didn't have aches and pains that I do now as I've matured into this 70-year-old woman. And back then, I just used it recreationally because everybody else was, and it was so much fun, and I loved it. It was just so much fun. And then I grew into into being a woman and put that aside and lived my life until I got this amazing, perfect storm of womanly stuff going on. And there was nothing to manage it except polypharmacy, one prescription after another, after another, after another. And you know why that is? Because all of those prescriptions only target one thing. And so if I have a headache, they'll give me medicine for a headache. If I have a tummy ache, they'll give me medicine for a tummy ache. Yeah. You know that story. But after I had been suffering from this perfect storm of womanly issues, myalgic encephalomyelitis, what we used to call chronic fatigue, for years on end that just robbed me, devastated my energy. I couldn't lift a finger. My husband fed me often during those years. Arthritis was creeping up into my aging body. And so, ooh la, arthritis. Geez, I didn't think I was old enough for that, but, And then this stupid accident that was self-inflicted. I thought I was Supergirl and I could lift something way high, real heavy over my head. And I just felt this muscle recoil and there it went. And I've had neuropathy in the ends of my fingers ever since. And you know what neuropathy feels like in the ends of your fingers? To me, it feels like razor blades slicing my fingertips under running water. It's pretty bad. And it talks to me in front of any other idea that I might have if I don't manage it. And I tried managing that with, prescriptions from my doctors. But I got brain fog instead. I got nausea instead. I got constipation instead of relief. And I was still left with that horrific feeling. And then on top of all of that, here was the fourth thing that happened. Hello, menopause. Hi, Honey Smith Walls here. I'm host of the Cannabis Truth Podcast, weekly for the past 6 years. But today I'm inviting you to a Facebook group called the Holistic Relief Summit, in hopes that you too will come for the peace and stay for the epiphanies. It's a beautiful space for women to find all kinds of relief from all kinds of suffering. Come join us for free.
Well, hello, I'm Dr. Philip Blair, and I want to introduce you to Honey Smith Walls. And she recently had an experience with beta caryophyllene.
For years, I've been dealing with lots of arthritis pain and pain from neuropathy that has not been resolved through other prescriptive methods. As an advocate educator in the cannabis industry, I learn lots of interesting information about the compounds within the plants, and one of those turned out to be beta caryophyllene.
What was your first dose like?
I was gobsmacked. Absolutely gobsmacked. It has given me my future back.
I want to get it out to everybody too. I want to get it out to the whole world, as a matter of fact. It has so many mitigating factors for all the stresses of life and pain and diseases. It is unbelievable, the spectrum of care that it can provide.
Anyway, I'm a tech goddess. I can handle all this. And I've learned that from hanging out with all of these other amazing speakers and women who have helped me level up being a woman, helped me understand how these issues can be resolved, helped me understand what I need to do as a woman to get past the suffering that I have created in myself from the way I've lived or that's happened to me by accident. We just have lots of things. Like when death hits us or in our circle. I didn't expect my 90-year-old husband, who was in pretty good health, to die so suddenly. And it was pretty traumatic at the end of his life because we just couldn't figure out what the hell was going on. And by the time we did figure out what was happening, it was too late. And I want to tell you, at 90, he was on a cocktail of polypharmacy and nobody noticed that his sodium levels plummeted and he couldn't survive it. He died in his sleep, thank goodness. But he couldn't survive that. And that was the end for my darling. Low sodium from polypharmacy that his doctors weren't paying attention to. He had doctors at the VA, he had private doctors, he had great health care. Oh, Jesus, he was doing a doctor dance. Yes, he was. But nobody noticed that. Even after he went to the emergency room 3 times in a week, they weren't getting it. I don't know why. And then he was gone. So, had I not already had the benefit of understanding and using plant therapy for relief from suffering, I would not have made it through that period as well as I did. And it was pretty crazy. There was no insurance for me, so I had to pack up and move. And thank goodness I had a son who wanted me up in Michigan. So here I am living with him and his kids, loving every minute of it. I love my life up here. It's so wonderful. I'm so grateful. And up here in Michigan, see, I was down in Florida then. Up here in Michigan, cannabis is recreational, so it's just kind of a free-for-all. Down in Florida, it was all medicinal, so I got a real heavy dose of what medical cannabis looks like. And when I was first trying to use it, I was using it for sleep relief and pain relief and all of that. I didn't realize what great anxiety relief it was, too. But it was. Still is, And so I had to know why, after years of muscle atrophy from no energy, from laying around so long, so much, no exercise, no energy, no nothing. Even my husband was feeding me, wondering, is this, that seemed like it was in the reverse, didn't it? I mean, I should have been taking care of him instead of him taking care of me. And it was kind of a mess. And then I began getting cannabis, and up off that couch I came. Suddenly I had the desire to eat, and I could feed myself. Suddenly my anxiety lifted so much. I could smile. I could look into tomorrow and not be afraid. The anxiety of being so sick just kills your hope. It's like, am I ever going to be happy again? Am I ever going to feel relief from this sorrow, this sadness, this hanging stuff over me? So I began looking into the science of cannabis to find out why it helped me so much. All of those things. I mean, instantly. I didn't have to take 6 pills to get the effect that 1 dose of cannabis gave me instantly, and that was because I inhaled it. So there's science behind how you use this plant, and each different way that you use it has a different onset effect. How long it takes for you to feel that relief. And so you strategize with this plant, and once you understand the compounds that are in it and how medicinal they are and affect you, now you're going to be choosing certain kinds and varieties and types of products versus other types. See, because you're going to want something that's going to wake you up in the morning and give you energy and verve for life. There's a cannabis for that. And then you're going to want something different to help you go to sleep at night. And there's a cannabis for that. You don't want to be mixing them up. I spent 10 years studying under the tutelage of the leading cannabis scientists around the world, not just here. My research started in Israel under Dr. Raphael Mechoulam, the godfather of cannabis. And so there have been many, many glorious years of understanding this entire network, this entire industry, not just the medicinal industry of cannabis, but the industrial side as well. See, we've forgotten over the past 100 years of prohibition how important this particular plant has been to our world. Even our own country here in America. You see, the Europeans never would have made it over here without cannabis. Of course, it was already here, but they didn't know that. And they never would have been able to come over here without cannabis. You know why? Because you can't shove a boat across the ocean without sails and rope, both made from cannabis hemp. Shoot, they were wearing cannabis clothes. They were having it in their salads. They were using it for medicine. They were using it to make their pottery stronger. They were using it for bedding and food for their animals. Our animals ate it all the time. We got cannabinoids through the animals that we ate. But not anymore. Not when they ripped it out of the planet and cordoned it off between our animals and it. And that was just all naughty shenanigans of our politicians. Our American politicians started all this naughty shenanigans in bed with big corporate. That's how it all came about. That's why it's a federally illegal plant at a certain THC level because of naughty shenanigans of our politicians. That's all. And once science really began studying this plant and realizing the basic facts and the fundamentals about it and all of that, then game on. There was the great medical marijuana mothers migration to Colorado when women began finding out that their babies having 300, 400 seizures a day could find a product that was not polypharmacy that would actually stop the seizures. It has been heavenly for my friends Dave and Chella Conan out in California who have, I think it's her father who has Parkinson's or Alzheimer's. And they started a podcast about how cannabis helps dementia. That's what it's called. Cannabis helps dementia. You want to find out how cannabis can help dementia and the caregivers of those with dementia? Go listen to that podcast. In fact, go listen to my podcast. My podcast has been running for 6 years about cannabis as I've been interviewing medical professionals about how to use this plant safely and effectively. I still use it daily. I'm not getting high, and that's the other thing I want to tell you. If you're an elder like me, I'm 70, and you're getting a little myopic about where you walk and where your feet go because you know that if you fall and break a hip, it's the end of your life as you know it, that your quality of life plummets if you break a hip. And so does everybody else's around you. So we get really cautious about that. We're really cautious about not falling. And most elders are afraid of cannabis making them woozy. And then here comes the fall. They're afraid of the woozy because of that bad reputation of marijuana. But darlings, you don't have to be afraid of the woozy because I'll teach you how to avoid it completely. You can totally tame cannabis and the THC woozy so that you never have to feel that if you don't want to. And yet you can still use it to get its amazing, powerful, but gentle pain relief. People with cancer are using it. I used it to get rid of a tumor on my gum. And I use it daily so that I can sleep well at night, so that my hands don't hurt me all day long, so that my head is in the right space, so that I don't have anxiety. So without all of that pain and suffering going on in me, I now have created space in my head where I can actually think and move on and have joy and enjoy life. If you would like to get control of your own health care again, outside of the other fabulous modalities that we learn in this forum, and thank you, darling Josie, for this forum, this safe container to talk about womanly issues, I'm just saying, we need help womaning 101 on this planet. And if you're looking for a new way to end your suffering with gentle plant therapy, then please let me give you this lovely little gift that will get you started. It's the Cannabis Recovery Kit. And it will show you what should be in a good first aid kit that you could go to instead of the ibuprofen and the acetaminophen and the Pepto-Bismol and all of that. This will show you what you should consider for a first aid kit that has cannabis in it. And it will also give you this holistic assessment to give you questions to consider before making your first purchase or even your next purchase, saving you hundreds and hundreds of dollars and time and frustration on buying the wrong thing that doesn't work. Didn't do it, didn't know how to dose it, didn't understand. All kinds of issues could come up with that. Follow me if you're interested in learning a little plant therapy. And I'm telling you, it's as easy as putting butter and syrup on pancakes. If you can do that, you can do gentle plant therapy, alchemy, cannabis alchemy. It's just choosing the right one, having patience, dosing properly, journaling a little bit so you'll be able to remember all the different things that you're trying in this period of discovery. And it's so much fun because now you're in a group of like-minded women who are doing the same thing you are, leveling up their womanhood. And this is the space to do it. You're going to love the other speakers if you haven't heard them yet. They're going to give you so much value. And for any of us, if you want to come into our worlds, we're each giving you an invitation. So I hope you enjoy what you find here in this forum. I hope if you're considering plant therapy that you will come to me, go to one of my free master classes, hear a little bit more. Check out my podcast, free everywhere, the Cannabis Truth Podcast. And if you want that free little kit from me, the Cannabis Recovery Kit, just put KIT in the chat down below. And I'll circle back around, make sure that you get it personally from me. And I hope to see you again real soon. You have nothing to be afraid of in trying gentle plant therapy for any of your womaning 101 issues. And I'll be here to hold your hand the whole way. That's what we're doing, holding each other's hands, making each other stronger, pulling each other up. So y'all take care, sending lots of love, and I'm going to go do stuff.
You've been listening to another Cannabis Truth Podcast with 21st century cannabis shaman Honey Smith Walls. Using cannabis mindfully as medication is a different concept in Western healthcare philosophy, specifically over the past century. There's a lot to learn and reconsider. The scientific truth of cannabis is finally getting out and is wide open for all to see at respected medical sites like the National Library of Medicine at pubmed.gov and the Journal of American Medical Association at JAMAnetwork.com. We here at the Cannabis Truth Podcast are right there in the thick of it, alongside the titans of medicine, as a fly on the wall. We are not doctors, nor did we go to medical school, but we have taken dozens of private cannabis courses and still engage in continuing education offered by expert cannabis scientists. Over the past few years, we slowly began to see and understand the bigger picture. Now we hear from people all day long about cannabis. It is so important to use verifiably safe products. The process of getting a diagnosis from your family doctor and taking your records to a cannabis specialist can lead you to the correct cannabinoid therapy for your specific issues. Otherwise, you're simply your own guinea pig looking for answers without the foundational knowledge or ability to determine your best strategy. To find a qualified cannabis expert in your area, visit cannabisclinicians.org. This is a national society of cannabis experts. Look for the link in the show notes. Unless otherwise proven by a reputable third-party lab test, please regard all street weed as contaminated. It may do grave harm to a patient with a delicate immune system who already has inflammatory issues like arthritis, IBS, fibromyalgia, or worse. Thank you so much for your time today. I hope you find value and understanding through the conversations you've heard on this podcast.
A quick shout out to Nathan Pierce and Daniel Rome of the 406 Budcast and their brilliant tech goddesses who created what you're about to hear next.
She walked in with wisdom and a fire in her eyes, talking plant truth where the silence lies. From the roots to the bloom, she saw the light. Now she's teaching folks how to heal it right. Not afraid to challenge the tale of lazy myths and a system that failed. She's got science in one hand, stories in the other. Lifts up the voices they tried to smother. Honey knows, honey grows. Truth in the soil and love in the smoke. Speaking for the elders and the ones left behind. She's the shaman of the digital waves. She's breaking down fear with every word she says. Cannabis truth, that's her battle cry. For the mamas and papas still scared to try. She ain't selling hype, she's serving facts. Taking big pharma to school with class. With a mic and a mission, she lights the way for the lost and the curious every day. Honey knows, honey grows, truth in the bud and peace in the dose. Teaching the plant like a sacred art, from the ECS to the beating heart. Yeah, honey knows. Honey healing flows. She's been burned by the system, lifted by the plant, giving voice to the ones who thought they can. A sister